Hey, Evan.
What? What is it?
Jake Muzzin is a Toronto Maple Leaf, and this is Season 2, Episode 5 of the TO SportsTalk podcast. I'm your host, James Price, along with Evan Brown, and like we just said, Jake Muzzin is a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Finally, Kyle Dubas addresses the need this team has been needing for the past 3-4 years, ever since Cabriolet left, McCabe left. You know what I mean? This trade just speaks wonders because this is the first big move Kyle Dubas has made and the first big move the Leafs have made ever since the Phil Kessel deal, right?
Yeah, because obviously acquiring Kasperi Kapanen in the first round pick, which ended up turning into the trade for Frederik Andersen. What a job by Kyle Dubas. I mean, look, it worked out great for both teams. They got a couple young prospects, Carl Grundstrom and Sean Durzi, as well as the first-round pick for the Leafs, which is going to be late. That's why I'm not so worried about it, as I don't think any of us are. And you acquire not exactly, but for the most part, what you want.
Of course, you would have liked a right-handed shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake Muzzin's left, big body, 6'3", 203, can lay the hits, like you said in your video, 111 hits.
If you watch the game against Colorado, remember the Leafs had the 2-0 lead and then blew it, and just before the All-Star break here.
Zadorov.
Yeah. Watch, he was crunching everybody, and he has one more hit than Jake Muzzin. I'm not comparing the two, but if you want to put that into perspective, kind of what Jake Muzzin's all about, you love that, and his hockey sense.
Jake Muzzin,
and that's beautiful.
Jake Muzzin is a shutdown defenseman. He's a top 4 defenseman in this league. A little older in 29?
29, yeah.
29, but won 2 cups with L.A., was a steady top 2. I think he was playing with Doughty, wasn't he?
Whether he was top 2 or top 4, I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter because
you
look at the way Jake Muzzin's going to play for this team, and it's exciting. And we've already heard from Mike Babcock that he'll be playing with Morgan Rielly, and oh, baby, I think we both love that.
Oh, I can't see why he wouldn't play with Rielly because Morgan Rielly, like Jake Gardiner, has played with pretty shitty players over his career.
Yeah, and
Ron Hainsey,
probably the best has been Ron Hainsey over that time.
I can't even think of Ron Hainsey. Who did he play with in his rookie year? Maybe Cody Franzen. I mean, is that
maybe?
Is that
I don't know.
Is that really guys to say, wow, those are good partners?
Where's Cody Franzen now?
KHL.
Exactly. So, but you bring in a guy like Jake, and he kind of reminds me of Ron Hainsey in a sense, but quite a bit better.
Because
of the size factor, the physical factor, and he puts up more points than Hainsey. And for me, I love Jake Muzzin because he's going to do everything Ron Hainsey does. So that right there is going to limit Hainsey, and it's going to be able to show. Like, I love the move because we already heard that Ron Hainsey is going to be playing with Travis Dermott.
I love that because Travis Dermott is looking great this year. He already has 5 goals,
something like that,
11 assists for about 15 points.
But he's been playing with Igor Ozhiganov on the third pairing for the entire time. No power play.
Ozhiganov hasn't looked bad, but with Ron Hainsey, because you can argue some, I'm not saying all, maybe like 10 or 15% of Rielly's success this season was because of Ron Hainsey. Right, Ron Hainsey is a great mentor, and he's going to mentor Travis Dermott. I would have liked to see, I don't know, because I hate that Gardner Zaitsev pairing, yeah. But what would you do? Because I would have loved to see Ron Hainsey with Travis Dermott, and that's going to happen. Obviously, Jake Muzzin's going to be with Rielly. I don't know what to do with those two. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say put Jake Gardiner and Zaitsev to the third pairing.
No,
I don't think that's.
Is Mike Babcock really using that as a third pairing? They might use him as a 2A and 2B type of.
This defense. Is Hainsey and Dermott.
Dermott and Gardiner and Zaitsev instead of overflowing the load and on Gardiner and Zaitsev and not as much on Hainsey and Dermott.
Well, because Mike Babcock isn't shy of giving Ron Hainsey a lot of ice time.
Yeah,
obviously. So I agree with you. I think that they're gonna roll 6 defensemen. I wouldn't say equally, but pretty equal.
Well, I think you're going to see Muzzin and Rielly a lot more than the other guys.
That's what I'm saying. But from Zaitsev and Gardiner and Hainsey and Dermott, I think those 4 guys are going to get roughly the same ice time. Maybe Jake Gardiner a bit more because we know his offensive upside. Now, I compare this trade to the Ryan McDonagh trade last year. If you want, you can get that up quickly.
It's not as big as a magnitude deal, but yes.
Big, but because you also involved JT Miller in the deal. But
you want me to look up the Ryan McDonagh deal?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because you gave up pretty much 2 seconds and a first for Jake Muzzin, right? Carl Grunstrom was a second rounder, I think in 2016 or 17? 16.
I think it was 16.
16. He's 21 years of age. He looked great with the Marlies. I think in the playoff run, he looked amazing last year for the Marlies.
So it was JT Miller and Ryan McDonough.
Okay.
For Vladislav Nemestikov.
Which was a first-round pick by Tampa Bay, so that's a first-rounder.
2018 first-round pick. So
2 first-rounders.
This past year.
Okay.
I don't know what that ended up being. And a conditional second-round pick in 2019. So that's this upcoming years. I don't know what the condition is on that pick. A defensive prospect, Libor Hycek, and I think there's some promise towards him. And forward, Brett Howden.
So you're looking at 3 first-rounders, Hycek, and a second. So that's obviously a bigger deal than this, but if you just want to take it for one, if JT Miller wasn't in the deal, it would be roughly the same. You can argue who's better, Muzzin or McDonough. Both pretty much the same. They're not going to put up a huge amount of points. Maybe 35, 40 points, right? But I could see, now, like you said in your video, plus minus is a flawed stat. I don't really like it too much. But he was a plus 10 on the L.A Kings. The last, I think,
that team,
second.
Apparently that the L.A Kings have the worst goal differential in the league, and yet he is still a plus 10.
Yeah, and they score the least, too. Yeah. I don't think they've scored over 100 goals this year.
Well, I'm going to find that out right now as you say that.
Yeah, but overall for the Leafs, I'm so happy, and
they have 114.
Oh, okay.
Their goal differential is a minus 36.
Who's first in the league? Who's scored overall?
For what?
For goals.
For goals, I'm assuming it's Tampa. Yeah, they have 199. Almost 200 goals.
But, like you were mentioning to me, pretty much 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You didn't have to give up a roster player for a top 4 defenseman. Take notes, Edmonton.
Because we were... Okay, you can get into your rant about Edmonton in a little bit. But what Evan just said... obviously, like you talked about the Ryan McDonough deal. You traded Nemestikov. You traded, the first round pick, basically 2018 first round pick, which the Leafs had to do as well, except for the 19. They also traded Brett Howden, who I think was a first round pick. I think he was as well. And Libor Hycek was a very good looking young defensive prospect. So you look at that trade, and that's massive. What did the Leafs do? They traded away a first round pick, which is going to be late, so that's fine. You traded away 2 second-rounders. One hasn't even signed yet in Sean Durzi. And then you get Grunstrom, who's just playing his first year in the AHL.
One wasn't technically on the roster, but he was in the system playing for the Marlies, so you can kind of look at it that. But you didn't have to give up Kapanen. You didn't have to give up a Janssen.
Exactly.
You didn't have to give up a Nylander. If it was anybody else, if it was Colton Parayko, if it was Dougie Hamilton, if it was Alex Pietrangelo, you would have to give up at least Janssen or Kapanen. We didn't have to give any of those guys for a guy who's not a rental. He's not a Brian Boyle. He's not a Thomas Buchanan.
Well, that's what we were talking about in the last podcast. We were talking about not wanting to pick up a rental because it's kind of pointless, and obviously trading those second-round picks for Boyle and Thomas Buchanan.
Didn't work out.
We're very stupid. Not that they were stupid, but you got to look at it. Those were Lou Lamoriello trades.
Exactly, and we lost both those trades because neither one of those players stayed with the team, and we didn't get out of the first round with those players. So with this team moving forward, and like I said, the biggest trade for Dubas's career, I look at this trade as a win for both teams. The LA Kings aren't going anywhere, so they're trying to unload on Kovalchuk.
They're second worst team in the National Hockey League.
Right, and every good team goes through this. The LA Kings have won 2 cups in 2014 and 2016.
Something like
2012, 2014, excuse me. But every good team goes through this. So now it's a rebuilding culture, and with these players and draft picks, it might speed up the rebuild. For us, the Leafs are going for it this year. I hopefully we don't get bounce out of the first round, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and if you look at, speaking of what you just said, the first round for the NHL right now, if the playoffs were to start today, the Leafs would play the Habs.
And the last time that's happened was in the 70s.
And, I mean, look, and I think all the anger has brewed up from Leafs and Habs in the past. Now, ideally, I don't think the what do you want to call it, rivalry isn't as big as it once was right now.
No, because we haven't faced them in the playoffs since the 70s. But could you imagine Max Domi playing on the Habs versus his dad's former team?
Can you imagine the Montreal Canadiens jersey in Toronto for a playoff game?
And likewise.
Look, you and I were down there for Game 7 of the 2012 playoffs. 13 against the Boston Bruins, and we all know how that finished. But watching Leafs Nation torture every Bruins fan that walked by. Imagine if it was a Habs fan.
Do you remember all the beer cans thrown at that?
Buddy's walking past the line and just getting empty beer cans right. Some of them not even empty.
Mind you, some of the stuff we did was a little bit shitty, like beating up Bruins fans.
Okay, we didn't do that.
We didn't do that. We seen people go through that.
It's a little hectic. But Bruins fans are Bruins fans. They're Boston fans.
Especially, you have to know if you're going to be wearing a Boston jersey at Maple Leaf Square for Game 7, you're just asking for it. I get it.
Especially for a Habs fan. If you go down there as a Habs, every time... I mean, you go to Leafs games. Every time they show a Montreal anything on the Jumbotron, it gets booed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's...
Rightfully so.
That's just the culture for the Leafs. And likewise with the Habs. If you see anything Leafs, they booed, right?
Well, they boo anything that walks. But anyways, imagine a playoff series against the Habs. It would be... I can't even imagine it right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen because obviously a very young team, as the Habs are, and they're coming after the All-Star break. Now is a real test for them.
So going back to the trade, I don't think Dubas is done.
No.
I don't think Dubas is done. I think we need another depth kind of defenseman. Man, I've been beating on the Radko Gudas drum, and...
Well, who do you get rid of at this point then? Right? Because you knew Igor Ozhiganov was kind of the guy that if somebody came in, you'd move him, and that's fine. Because we were all okay with it. Ozhiganov was brought in. We're like, he'll just slide into where Andres Borgman was last year.
That is true. Who would you scratch?
But would you move Hainsey? You can't do that. He's been a staple, and him with Dermott is beautiful. Hey, Zaitsev, heck, you're paying the damn guy to play.
I could see them maybe split. Okay, let's just say that they get Radko Gudas or another top 6 type of defenseman. You could see him split starts with Zaitsev. You could see Ron Hainsey get the night off a couple times, right? Because he is getting older. Zaitsev hasn't looked good this season. Mind you, the last game against the Caps, that was probably his best game of the year, which isn't saying much.
It was the best game for the Leafs in quite a while. That's what that was.
Yeah, so going back, I don't think Dubas is done. And maybe a Matt Cullen type of fourth line kind of role-playing guy who has been around the league, but not giving up a lot for.
Can we not give up a second-round pick for a fourth line?
Well, we don't have a first. So
well, exactly. I just give me like a fourth. Give me a third, maybe. But I want some type of pick.
I wouldn't be mad if Dubas is done because this is we were banging on the drum for so long and it happened. But I don't think he's done.
I don't think so. I kind of don't want him to be because you're a month away from trade deadline, right? You got to think of it this way: that this deal was made a month before trade deadline, and we'll get into this in a second about why that's such a good move. You still have a month to acquire anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if you're Kyle Dubas and you made this deal right now and you're going to see over the next, 10 to 12 games or whatever it is before the trade deadline occurs, Jake Muzzin, heck, he might even be comfortable and he might be doing great things out there for the Leafs by the trade deadline, and you've already had that time with him, which is fantastic. But then you go into the trade deadline, and like you said, a fourth line center is something you can use. A solid top 6 defenseman, like we talked about in the past, no Rhino Burn garbage, no guys that you're okay with sitting in the press box.
Yeah,
you want that guy, like you said, Radko Gudas is kind of a guy would be perfect. And with Philly not being very good, you never know.
I could see the price for that being a second.
But I wouldn't be opposed to it.
No, I wouldn't either. But at this point, maybe you should keep the second and then trade someone on the Marlies. I'm not saying a Bracco. I'm not saying any of that. But you have Radko Gudas for this year and for next. So he's not a free agent. And let's not forget that we still have to send down one player on either waivers, and I think that's going to be Justin Hall or Marincin.
Well, I'm okay with that. We all know our thoughts toward Martin Marincin. The guy's...
And Justin Hall, I just feel bad for.
I know. He was great for a few games with the Leafs last year. And
this year hasn't looked good. But, I mean, you're not giving the guy...
It's hard when you play once a month.
Yeah, exactly. But you're going to have to send one guy down, and if we acquire another defenseman, that other guy's probably going to be Igor Ozhiganov, and then, again, sit... Maybe Hainsey for a couple games, which I don't think Babcock will do. Zaitsev, I don't know. But
the question then remains is, do you try and move a Zaitsev or Gardner before the trade deadline?
Gardner, no. Zaitsev, yes. Gardner, you're going for it this year. Why would you? I understand he's probably not going to be coming back this season.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows, honestly? Who knows? I don't think he's going to be asking for that much of a pay raise. The way he's performing this year...
It's true.
He's on pace for, 40 points, 45 points? I mean... Maybe, exactly. 40 points, right? So, maybe like 5.5 mil?
What's he making now? Like
4.5. More than Muzzin, Zaitsev money.
I think so. I think you'd give him more than Jake Muzzin just because of the offensive numbers he puts up. But the thing is, you run into that problem
of the Matthews-Marner contract.
Exactly. And will Jake Gardiner be a part of the future? And is Nikita Zaitsev going to be... Look, you look at the offseason and you know Ron Hainsey is going to be gone. Yeah. You know, if they re-sign him, great. It'll be on something like less than $1 million or maybe
which I don't think. Max. I think he's going to be retired after this year.
It wouldn't surprise me, but if he doesn't, I would not be opposed to him coming back for 1 year at $1 million. No, it wouldn't surprise me, and it wouldn't hurt at all.
No, it wouldn't.
But I think if you're looking at a guy like Jake Gardiner, I personally just don't believe he's going to be back. I just really don't believe he will. The way things have gone for him lately, and the way obviously the fans are treating this whole situation.
But apparently Kyle Dubas loves Jake Gardiner.
Well, I think a lot of us do. A lot of us sane Leaf fans actually do like Jake Gardiner for the fact of you know what he can do.
And a top 4 of Riley, Muzzin, Zaitsev, and Gardner's pretty good. Other than Zaitsev, it's a pretty good top 4.
And like you said, Zaitsev just had his best game against the Washington Capitals. Now, I mean... It's not saying much since now you have a week off.
Could you imagine if he just plays like he did last year? Or 2
years ago.
Right, 2 years ago from the stretch.
Oh, it'd be incredible.
If he could actually live up. We're not asking for 40, 45 points. We're asking for like 25.
25, 30, and solid defense.
Exactly.
Smart plays.
He's not terrible.
If you don't see someone in the corner, you don't just kick it there. You'll pin it against the boards and wait for someone.
He's not bad on the PK.
No,
honestly.
He isn't.
He's not bad on the PK. It's just getting out of his zone, I think, is an issue.
Yeah.
Which is
that, and when he gets on 5-on-5, when he gets the puck pinned in his own zone, he gets a little lost.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. That is a big problem.
Put him on the power play. Put him on the power play like you did 2 years ago, and you might see some reassurance. But right now for the Leafs defense core, it's a huge bolster getting Muzzin, and like you've been saying in your video, again, Woodstock, Ontario native.
Yeah. Grow up. He grew up cheering for the Leafs, so you can't go wrong with that.
No.
But what Jake Muzzin can do, he can be on anything. He can be in the power play. He can be on the penalty kill.
He's a wicked shot.
And he's great 5-on-5. What that's gonna, I have a feeling that's just gonna do so much more, because you think about the power play and you think about all the people that are like just the power play is so heavy, right? With Riley and all those crazy guys on the power plays. You add a guy like Jake Muzzin who can actually play defense. Heck, you saw how many shorthanded goals this Leafs team gives up, or at least it feels like they give up a lot. You bring in a guy like Jake Muzzin who's gonna be really steady on that blue line on the power play. And heck, you look at the penalty kill. We all talk about Hainsey and Zaitsev being the guys who play the entire 2 minutes. You bring in a guy like Jake Muzzin, and he will be able to take the load off of Ron Hainsey, off of Zaitsev at times. And that'll make Ron Hainsey play better in 5-on-5 situations.
Yeah, it would, because you're putting him with Travis Dermott. He's going to get obviously less minutes. Maybe I could see for Ron Hainsey, maybe 3 or 4 less minutes a night.
Probably like 18 minutes a night, 18, 19 minutes a night, I'd say.
Well, it's better than playing 21.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
Exactly. But it's a win for both teams, and I'm just so stoked to see him against the Detroit Red Wings. And the last time we faced the Red Wings, it was William Nylander's debut. So
was it really? It's been that long. Feels like they're in the division, so I thought I'd see them more often.
Yeah. And let's not forget about he's coming from a team where he's been with his whole career. I'm pretty sure he had the same defense partner for his whole career in Drew Doughty. So,
and that's another thing. He's played with Drew Doughty his entire career.
I know. So you could see him struggle at times, like William Nylander, but he's a veteran, and I think he's gonna show up in the first maybe game or two. Like, you don't know, right? But I'm so happy he's playing with Riley, and Riley finally gets a top 4 guy he can play with.
Finally, and not just like a flipping carousel of people and Ron Hainsey.
Because the best guy he played with was Jake Gardiner, and we all know how.
Well, I'd say it was Ron Hainsey, because Jake Gardiner back then was all offense and absolutely diddly squad.
Well, I'm
defense.
saying like offensively.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, but that didn't allow Riley to be offensive, because they both wanted to be offensive, and then there was no defense there, and it was a complete gong show.
Okay, so let's talk about the All-Star break.
I was just going to say that.
And
did you watch the All-Star game?
No, I didn't actually.
Neither did I.
Because it's weird. They usually, last year, they took the Friday off, and they had the skills competition on Saturday and the All-Star game on Sunday.
Right.
Now, which changed this year, they had the skills competition on Friday, which was, again, quite odd. And then they had the All-Star game on the Saturday. The only reason I could see them doing this is because the AFC and NFC Pro Bowl was on Sunday. So who would you rather watch if you were a TV? Why not?
Well, but you run into that problem of like losing viewers because of that.
Well,
right, and no matter how many people,
what would you rather watch?
You want to get the maximum amount of viewers, right? And if you put it on the same day as the Pro Bowl, you will lose viewers no matter what. Because there will be football fans who are like, "Oh, I would rather watch the Pro Bowl than this All-Star game just because I like football more."
Yeah,
right. But then you put them on separate days, people can watch it. I totally get that.
The only thing that really stood out to me in the skills competition was the woman. I don't know her name. Off the top of my head.
Was it Brian Decker or something like that?
Something like that. But yes, the skating. But do you know the challenge where they have to get the puck through like the little net and stuff like that? Where they have to like shoot it.
Like the little saucer pass into the dinky net?
It's an extremely hard...
Henrik Sedin was fantastic at that.
Henrik Sedin was... Alex Pietrangelo last year won it. But it's a very, very hard event. So Leon Draisaitl won it, quote unquote. He had the second fastest time. The fastest time went to the woman. Yeah. I don't know her name.
I think it was Brienne Decker.
Brienne Decker, okay. She had the fastest time, but they couldn't award her anything because she wasn't technically a part of the competition. So the 20 grand or 30 grand went to Leon Draisaitl, which I think is baloney.
She won the damn thing.
She won the damn thing. I think she should get paid. I think she should get paid.
Why not? She won the competition.
She won it.
Whether she was physically, whether she was actually in the competition or not, doesn't matter. She competed in it, and she had the best time.
My question to the NHL is, if you don't planning on giving her or any of the other women money for winning, why even have them in the competition?
Yeah, because then you run into the problem we're talking about right now.
Exactly, and someone's gonna give her something. I think. I don't think the NHL's that low class of an organization. But I think she should get something. And for the fastest skater, she looked good. She beat out Clayton Keller. So she came second last. But hey, you know what?
I wonder how Clayton Keller feels right about now.
Well, it's I don't know. But the fastest skater, obviously McDavid. He's unbelievable.
Oh, he's a freak out.
I think Kapanen should have been in it.
He really should have been. Well, I mean, is he gonna go to the All-Star game? I don't know.
Just for speed skating?
Yeah, I don't know if that's
and obviously, John Tavares being booed by San Jose. I have no idea why.
I guess because they were the finalists to land him and he didn't go there. Kind of like the Babcock and Buffalo situation.
That makes no sense at all. He has no relation to San Jose other than that. Who cares? He wanted to play.
But then there was another Leaf that San Jose fans were cheering for. And it was really... Austin Matthews in the, I think it was the breakaway challenge, or if it was
because of the Patty Marleau jersey, how he took it.
That was fantastic.
That was fantastic. I would have wished, honestly, the one thing I would have wished he would have took off the Matthews jersey and then put on a San Jose.
Well, that's what I was like when I saw Marleau on the back. I'm like, is he wearing a San Jose jersey? But he wasn't.
No, that's the only complaint. But other than that, I think it was classy, kind of similar to what Terrence Ross did in the slam dunk contest with Vince Carter.
Yeah,
or I think DeRozan did that as well. But it was great. I don't really like the All-Star weekend too much, to be honest with you.
No, the only thing I like is a little bit of the skills comp.
Yeah.
But even the hardest shot now, you don't have Shea Weber, you don't have Ovechkin
Chara.
Didn't go, you don't have Zdeno Chara. So the fastest guy was John Carlson at 102. Wasn't Chara hitting like 108 and 107s?
Yeah, something like that. It's still a hard shot, nonetheless.
It is, of course
but it's no Chara or Shea Weber. Yeah, I mean, it's I never really the game. They are pretty much just playing hungover. So I mean,
honestly,
I never watched the game.
Hungover on the ice too. So.
The one All-Star game I watched was when John Scott was in it. I think that was the most fun.
Oh yeah,
out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wash. We haven't had hockey since last Wednesday.
Feels like
week.
Forever, man.
And then we gotta wait 3 more days.
Friday when the Leafs kick it off in Detroit.
In Detroit. Jake Muzzin's debut for the Leafs.
I'm assuming he'll play. I'm assuming so.
Of course, he's going to be wearing number 8, famously worn by Connor Carrick and longtime Leaf Mike Komisarek.
Longtime Leaf.
Longtime Leaf for both of them.
When Mike Komisarek was brought over here, he was brought over with a few other guys. I don't know. I forgot the names of the other guys, but they called them the Bloor Street Bullies.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Mike Komisarek, Matt Fraser, Fraser McLaren, Colton Orr.
Like, come on.
That I think we had the Bloor Street Bullies for about 2 years. That was 2013.
Komisarek wasn't bad before he came over to the Leafs, and then he came, and then it was kind of a garbage fest. And then he played in the Marlies.
He was a top 10 pick, I'm pretty sure, by Montreal.
Something like that. But he was good there.
Didn't he come over with Grabowski?
No, Grabowski I think started his career with the Leafs, didn't he?
No, he didn't. He started with Montreal.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I don't know how.
I don't know if that was the same trade, but if it was, well, we all know Mike.
He was a good little player, though, Mikhail Grabovski.
Oh, yeah, he was.
But he ran into so many concussion issues with Chara hitting him all the time. That was.
He was fast.
He was fast, and he had great hands.
And great flow at points.
But then he got crushed a lot.
That number, though, 84, man, just kind of sticks out. So is there any other news around the league you want to talk about, or are we going to move into basketball? And there is drama.
We'll have a look here.
There is drama. Nothing really. Jeez, I'm drawing a blank here.
I mean...
Oh, let's quickly talk about the Artemi Panarin situation. And
yeah.
I think with the Blue Jackets obviously in a playoff spot, the question for you, do you believe they can make noise this year if they keep both players in the playoffs?
I don't think so.
Me neither. I think it's smart. I think it's just, you look at players, big names that left their team. Look at Ottawa Senators in the Erik Karlsson situation. They're not doing half bad. Look at John Tavares leaving the Islanders. They're first in the Metro.
Yeah.
If you lose either an Artemi Panarin or Sergei Bobrovsky, more Panarin than Bobrovsky, because I don't know about who's their backup again?
Korpisalo?
I don't know about Korpisalo, but definitely Artemi Panarin. You have Dubois. You have Boone Jenner, Cam Atkinson, Foligno. You have all these players, and losing one guy, and it's not like you're not going to get anything back for him. You're going to get someone, multiple pieces back.
It is a rental player for the most part.
It's a rental player.
You run into that issue.
But you run into the fact that I can see Artemi Panarin sticking with the Blue Jackets more than Bobrovsky. But I think Bobrovsky is the more valuable player to the Blue Jackets than Artemi Panarin, just because Korpisalo hasn't looked great this year. He's looked okay, but Sergei Bobrovsky is a Vezina candidate. I don't know about this year, but in the years past he has. He still puts up a 9, scoring's up this year, but maybe like a 9-11, 9-15, which is great this year for goaltenders. So do you think they should trade them, or do you think they should keep them for a playoff run?
That's a really hard question, because obviously the third in the Metropolitan Division. They're 1 point behind the Washington Capitals. They've been not great lately, but neither of the Capitals. It's a really, really difficult question. It really is, because you run into that, well, if we keep them, are we going to be damageable? Like, are we going to damage teams this year? Are we going to do a great job this year? Are we going to win a cup this year, for that matter? But if you do that and you don't trade them, you run into that problem, like you said. If you lose Panarin for nothing and you lose Bobrovsky for nothing, that might come back and haunt them really bad.
Yeah.
So it's a really fine line of what the Columbus Blue Jackets can and should do.
Yeah. I think you got to unload on one. Bobrovsky doesn't look... He wants Carey Price money. And I'm sorry, if you're playing the way he's playing this year, just look at his stats quickly. You're not going to be making Carey Price money. He has a .902 save percentage. He hasn't...
297 goals against. He's got a just over 500 record of 19, 15, 1-2.
Go to the backup, Korpisalo.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. About the same numbers. Very, very similar numbers.
But they have a great defense core. I guess that's why they're winning games.
I guess so. And you go to Artemi Panarin here, and how's he even doing this year? He's got 55 points in 47 games. I mean, he's been fantastic.
He's a superstar.
He's only 27 years old. It's so hard, because a guy right in his prime at 27 in Panarin, he's having a great season. You don't want to lose that.
No, you don't.
And I would not be opposed to losing a guy like Sergei Bobrovsky, because you have a guy like Korpisalo that I think can take over the reins, and he's only 24 years old.
You
run into that Vasilevsky Ben Bishop type of scenario. Maybe not to the extent of that, because both Ben Bishop and Vasilevsky were fantastic goalies. Both these guys are not having great seasons. However, they're known to be good goaltenders. Yeah. So
you run the risk of that, but you're not trading Bobrovsky at his highest.
No.
You know what you can do, but you're trading Panarin at his highest, pretty much. I think you got to unload on one. If you keep both players, I could see Panarin staying, but I could see Bobrovsky leaving. But you can get more for Panarin now than Bobrovsky. It's a tough situation. Jarmo Kekalainen is a fairly good GM. He passed on Jesse Puljujarvi, and we thought he was crazy.
Yeah, we really did.
Look at Dubois. Well, technically, we got to shout out the man. Craig Button did say it.
He did say it. He did say that Dubon was supposed to go third overall.
We all laughed at him,
and here they are. And he's having a great season for Columbus. I mean, he's had a great young career for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's got 45 points in 49 games, 18 goals, 27 assists. He's a fantastic player. The last team I want to touch on, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Now, just after their game after the All-Star break, they got smashed by the New Jersey Devils.
At home.
6-3. That is the fifth time in Matt Murray's career he has given up 5 or more goals.
As long as the Pittsburgh Penguins have Gino and Sid on their roster, they're going to be a contending team. I don't care how much depth they have. I don't care what... Yeah. You know what's funny is they obviously made a move and they sent Jamie Oleksiak back to Dallas for a fourth, which... Yeah. Is the same pick they used to acquire him.
Which is really interesting.
It is, because you look at Justin Schultz should be coming back. Jack Johnson is just injured. He was just injured. And depth defensemen are always good to have. So it's not a huge deal that they got rid of him, but it's kind of a head scratcher.
Oleksiak wouldn't have been a bad idea for the Leafs to pick up. Like,
Big
size, right? But
hey, you know what? Whatever. Yeah, you know what? A fourth? I would do that.
Yeah, I would in an instant. I mean, God, you see a fourth-line center getting a second-round pick, my God. But the question I really do have with the Pittsburgh Penguins is, are they a playoff team?
Yes. They do this every year.
And I get that. But usually you see them about second in the division. Now, ideally, they're only 2 points behind Washington for second in the division. But
remember, this time last year, they were around the same, right? They were on the cusp of not making the playoffs, and they did, and they made it to the second round.
And Sidney Crosby came out after that game against New Jersey and pretty much bashed his teammates.
Good.
You don't hear too much talking in general from Crosby, and to hear him say stuff like that, it's an eye-opener.
It's an eye-opener, but good on him, right? Good on him for calling out the team, and that's what a captain should do. Now, moving on to basketball.
Yeah.
There is a lot of news.
Do you want to start with the Raptors period first? And then kind of work it into the Anthony Davis talk, because we have to talk about that.
I guess since this is a TL Sports Talk podcast, Raptors first.
Can we please stop talking about Kyle Lowry being garbage? Please, can we stop? Because you look at the last 3 games that Kyle Lowry has played. Or sorry, 3 of the last 4 that he's played. He's given you... 4 games ago, he gave you 19 points, 9 assists against the Sacramento Kings.
Right.
Against Indiana, I think it was without Kawhi, he gave you 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. Now, ideally, against Houston, he only got 9 points, didn't shoot the ball well, still gave you 11 assists, however. And then against Dallas, he had 19 points, he shot 5 of 10, he made 5 threes, and he had 9 assists as well. The last 3 games, 3 of the last 4, he has been fantastic, and everyone's sitting here saying, well, he's still a waste of money and everything. Let the guy play. Him and Kawhi haven't played much together. You see them finally put a game together where they play well together and you win against a very, very good home team in the Dallas Mavericks. And everyone's still trying to bash Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one guy, which I compared to a little bit Jake Gardner, where when he's off, he's off. He's terrible, Kyle Lowry.
Shooting the ball, yes, but he will do other things to help.
I understand that, but when he's off and he's not getting points and he's chucking up a bunch of threes, I don't care how good he's doing other than that. When you have 20-odd minutes and 0 points or something like that, or like 2 or 3, give it to him. But for Raptors fans to keep bashing him, is it because of the contract? Is it because you made...
Probably. It probably is.
Which, I mean, that's for another debate if he's worth that contract. Personally, I don't think he is, but I don't think he deserves the hate he's getting. Why did we, because from the last game we talked about was against Sacramento, why did we rest Kawhi against Indiana?
They rested him 4 straight games.
Why? Especially against Indiana.
It has. They said it has to do with load management, but then I don't really know.
Against Sacramento was the 3rd rest in a row. Okay. When you're facing, especially on a back-to-back, Indiana, the Pacers that we might face in the playoffs, I know, shout out to Victor Oladipo, who... Gruesome injury. Done for the year, and that sucks for Indiana. I mean, if they're going to make the playoffs, it's probably going to be slim now.
They're going to make the playoffs, but they're not keeping that 3rd seed.
No.
And then as a Raptor fan, you think to yourself, okay, well, what seed do we want? You wanted to try. The situation right now would have been perfect if it would stay like this. However, with the injury to Oladipo, I don't think it's going to stay this way.
You want to face Miami?
Not even that. And I know Miami's a grindy team, but the Raptors should beat the Miami Heat. And then you look to the second round, you would have to play either Indiana or Brooklyn and you let Philly and Boston beat each other up, and one of those teams to get eliminated in the first round. That's what you would prefer. But with the injury to Victor Oladipo, I don't think Indiana's going to stay at 3. They could even drop to as far as 6 if Brooklyn continues to stay on a roll.
If they drop to 7th, hell yeah. So then we'll face them in the first round. Hell yeah.
Indiana?
Yeah. Without Victor Oladipo.
Well, they pretty much didn't have Oladipo in that game against the Raptors. He left in the second quarter, and the Raptors still found a way to lose that game.
Because they were resting Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know why they were doing that.
No Kawhi, no OG, and obviously no Jonas Valanciunas. But positive news on the JV front. He participated in full practice today. No splint. He just has some bandages on his arm, on his thumb. He is being cleared to full contact practice. JV, I'm not saying he'll be in the game tomorrow against Milwaukee, but he's very, very close to returning. Thank God.
Well, we weren't really struggling with...
Yes, you were.
Well...
You look at the teams that have big men. Look at that game against, where is it here? Indiana. Thaddeus Young is a guy that's active and just a pain in the rear end on the inside. JV would be a guy that would be able to fight with him really, really well. I'm sorry... Thaddeus Young had 23 points and 15 rebounds.
Is he going to sustain that against...
And he had 7 offensive rebounds.
He was matched up with who? Siakam or...
But you look at the size difference. Siakam's long and he can run and he's
6'6", isn't he? Siakam?
No, I think he's much longer than 6'6".
No, taller.
6'9", isn't he?
Okay, and then...
6'9", 230.
And Thaddeus
Young, who is 6'8" at 221. So he's bigger. He's a lot bigger than
He's bigger,
Pascal.
but I guess
and
he can work...
Veteran. He's been in the league a long time. That's why I love the guy JV, because he's got the size. He can bang down low.
So who would you sit? Would you sit Ibaka or would you sit Siakam?
See, against natural big. See, Thaddeus Young, you probably would have stayed the same as this. However, in matchups later in the game, you'd probably throw JV against Thaddeus Young.
But Thaddeus Young is starting. So who would you start?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the later game situation. To start the game, you'd have the same roster as you have now. But as the later game situation goes on and you see Thaddeus Young ripping your team apart, you probably would see the same result. Yeah. You would throw JV in there, and he might be... and my feeling is you'd be able to contain that. I've seen countless games that big men have ripped apart the Raptors because... You don't have Jonas Valanciunas to bang inside with them.
So why wouldn't you put Greg Monroe on him in that game?
Because Greg Monroe can't move.
Yeah, but he's big, though. That's the thing. So Thaddeus Young couldn't post up on Greg Monroe.
Didn't Greg Monroe get in some foul issues as well?
So that's probably why. Because if you're looking at just size factor and not skill, throw him out there.
He played 8 minutes. Did Greg Monroe.
Throw him out there because he's not skillful, obviously, but he has the size. So if you're looking at Thaddeus Young
can shoot the 3. Greg Monroe can't move. He can't guard the 3. That's why JV has gotten so much better at that. But you look at a team like, where are we here? Phoenix, a great example. The Raptors barely pulled that one out, right? Yeah. Look at the rebounds by DeAndre Ayton. 17 rebounds. You don't have a guy like JV to match up against him. Serge Ibaka's smaller. And look, that answers the question right there.
So it's height and it's just mass.
Exactly. You have that presence on the inside to bang with them. You haven't had that in quite some time with Jonas Valanciunas. Plus, he can give you the offense too.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that in a little while, but I'm so happy he's very close to being back. And I'm just ecstatic to have JV back.
He's been out for a month and a half?
You put into perspective.
Who injured him again?
JV and Greg Monroe. Who would you pick? I think we all know that. I think we all know who you pick. JV's the better rebounder. Greg Monroe,
now, for the starting lineup, would you pick him or Ibaka?
Matchups. If you're playing an Andre, if you're playing an Andre Drummond, you play JV.
Start with JV
because Andre's not going to shoot threes.
Yeah.
JV's not great at guarding the 3, so you do that. But if you face a guy like Marcus Gasol or guys who can shoot the 3 as the 5 or the 4. You throw it Ibaka. You let him guard those guys.
So you would keep Siakam at the power forward because you can't sit. Siakam. You would keep him at the power forward, and then you would either start JV depending on the matchup or Ibaka.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's what we've been seeing until JV got hurt. That's what we were seeing.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with you because JV can guard posts better, But I guess Ibaka can guard the perimeter better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why when you're facing, for example, let's put it a great example. You're facing Milwaukee tomorrow. And let's say JV is playing tomorrow. You go down to their big men, Brook Lopez. Now, usually he doesn't shoot the three. However, this year, he's shooting 39% from beyond the arc. So you could try and start Serge Ibaka on him. And then as the J, because then off the bench, they have like Ilyasova. Well, he can shoot the three too. Thon Maker, but that might be a tough matchup for.
And
JV.
plus, coming back from an injury, I don't think they're going to start him, even if it was matchup driven.
Exactly.
I think they'd sit him. Nick Nurse isn't that stupid, and then they would keep. Yes, you have your hand up.
A great example. The next game, you're facing Marcin Gortat and the Clippers. Gortat, has he shot a three this year? I don't think he has.
And Boban.
Okay, that guy's a freak in nature, that man. If your Wi-Fi will even load Gortat here. Okay, there's Boban. I might as well go to him. How big is this guy? 7'3", 290. This guy's a freak out there.
Where's he from? Like Slovenia?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just do it for the pod.
Zajassar?
Sounds like a map in Halo.
Maybe. Yeah, honestly. Bro. But look, Gortat has not taken a three this year, so that would be a matchup where you fire JV out there to start, and then you kind of play it out from there.
Yeah.
You play the matchups. And that's why he was so good for this team to start the year.
Let's just get into it. Speaking of big men, Anthony Davis has said that he has requested a trade. He was fined $50,000 for requesting a trade from the New Orleans Pelicans. He's openly said that his preferred destination is the LA Lakers. No surprise there. Lakers, Bucks, and Raptors are all involved in trade talks. I don't think the Raptors should do this. And who would we give up? Could we give up?
You'd probably give up Siakam, OG, a first-round pick, and that's probably where you start. And I don't know where you go from there. Maybe a DeLon Wright, maybe JV, but then you run into problems like, okay, we've given up a ridiculous amount of roster players for one guy.
And then, once we have that one guy, if that even goes through, we have to pull up a bunch of G League guys and put them on the bench.
And then you run into that issue of those guys having to play 40, 50 minutes a night. Okay, even though that's not possible. 40 minutes a night.
I think we have our team. I don't think JV's coming back.
If you're going to make any moves, it's for guys that can shoot the three, that can come off the bench. That's what I think that the Raptors should look at, if anything.
So Raptors aren't going to get him. Are you shocked that he openly said, because Anthony Davis is a pretty quiet guy. He's been with the team for about 7-8 years now, and he says nothing.
Wasn't it his agent that came out and said it?
No, he said it.
There's a quote that says Anthony Davis said
yes.
I'm going to look that up right now.
He said it. He said that I demand, because that's why he was fined $50K. I'm pretty sure.
His agent was.
They said he was. Regardless, he said it, right? So Anthony Davis isn't a very outspoken kind of person. This shocked me due to the fact that I wasn't shocked that he would be leaving the Pelicans organization, because really, they had one great year, but other than that, they've been close to the playoffs, but bounced out of the first round, whatever, regardless of what last year happened. I'm just shocked that he said it just so blatantly. And the Pelicans need to trade this guy.
Yeah.
They need to trade this guy. Trade deadline. They cannot wait. He openly said, or his agent said, I'm not re-signing with this team. I demand a trade. So the locker room's already in.
So it looks like Anthony Davis was just fined $50,000 for demanding the trade.
I know, that's what I just said.
Not to the Lakers. He never saying anything like that.
I didn't say
demanding the trade out of New Orleans. Yes, that's what he was.
That's what I said. I said he was fined $50K for demanding a trade.
It sounded like you were saying that he was talking
his
about
preferred destination was the Lakers, but he was fined $50K for demanding a trade. Right? I can't see why he wouldn't go to the Lakers.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing
But Lakers. It's true.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing, Kawhi's going to the Lakers. DeRozan was going to the Lakers. Paul George's going to the Lakers. Kawhi,
But we have a quote where Anthony Davis says he wants to be a Laker. We have an actual quote. So
there's a quote that's saying that Anthony Davis says, I want to go to the Lakers?
Yes. His preferred destination is the Lakers.
Who said that?
Anthony Davis.
There's no quote that says that.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. That's why everyone's saying Lakers. He openly said that his preferred destination would be the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well,
so if that, you could see the Pelicans personally getting, I don't know about Lonzo, definitely Ingram, Kuzma, and You could even see, I don't know, what do you think a mock trade would be for Anthony Davis?
For the Lakers?
You said that. You said it?
The Lakers you're talking about?
Yes.
God. Well, I think it has to start with Kyle Kuzma. Because he's been arguably the guy with the most trade value there.
Kuzma.
It has to go with Lonzo Ball after, even though you know my feelings towards Lonzo. He's not very good.
I would say Ingram over Lonzo.
You might have to fire in all three. You might have to. It's Anthony Davis.
I know.
And it sounds like the price. Heck, if we have to give up Siakam, OG, and a first-round pick, you might have to give up all three guys.
So he said that, didn't he?
I couldn't find it, but I stopped looking.
Yeah. And who knows if those players would want to stay with New Orleans?
Yeah.
They're not a big market. They're a small market team, and they're on the down because Drew Holiday said that he's 90% of the reason why I stayed with this team.
Yeah, so he could be gone really soon. It would not surprise me in the slightest.
No.
One guy, I know I'm flipping it here to the Raptors, but there was one guy that I'm looking at, and I'm like, ooh, I want that. Nikola Mirotic. This is a guy that has hurt the Raptors in countless occasions. He's only 27 years old. He can shoot the three. He has shot 36% this year. He should get 16 points a game. I know you might have to give up a little bit, but the way this guy, I don't know, man. He's only started 22 games out of the 32 on the Pelicans.
So you're saying we would want a big man over a sharpshooter, or both?
No, he's a big man who can shoot the three.
Oh, okay. But you don't necessarily would consider him a sharpshooter.
No, but you add that guy to the bench, and you can put him as your
bench.
Wouldn't surprise me if he's even the sixth man, because Fred VanVleet's been terrible.
I would start him. That guy
instead of who?
JV.
But he's not gonna be starting most of the time. It's gonna be Ibaka.
Well, I would start him maybe over Ibaka, or like split the starts with Ibaka. I think this guy's even better than Ibaka.
I don't know. I'm looking at Masai Ujiri, and I'm like, you know what? It's such a hard scenario right now because the Raptors are in win now mode, an all-in win now mode. With the acquisition of Kawhi Leonard, with him possibly only being here for one season, you run that risk. You don't make any move here because you're worried about breaking things or you're worrying about this, and you don't win the championship, you don't even go to the finals, and you lose Kawhi, and then it's just all shambles from there, and it wouldn't surprise me if Masai Ujiri's tenure will be up after that. But if Kawhi leaves...
Kawhi leaves, I don't think he's fired.
You wouldn't really?
I don't know, because he was bold enough to make the move, and it depends how we do in the playoffs. Listen,
well, that's what I'm saying.
If we make it to the finals, or even the Eastern Conference Finals, more the finals.
Yeah, more the finals.
And he leaves, I don't know. I think...
Well, if we make it to the finals, yes, but I'm talking about if you don't really progress anywhere in the playoffs, if you get knocked out in the second round, or you get knocked out...
And then Kawhi leaves? Then
I'm like... Then adios, buddy.
Yeah,
because this team has not been able to get past the conference finals. There's no LeBron James garbage anymore.
But it won't be the end of the world if he does leave, because we saw in a small sample size when he's not playing, we've been doing pretty well. Now going back to Anthony Davis, you could obviously the Lakers are involved. What's another team you can see him going to? Any big market team?
It sounds like the Milwaukee Bucks are not willing to part ways with most of their younger players. Malcolm Brogdon.
Boston Celtics can't afford him due to salary cap
only until
issues.
so they can only what does Kyrie Irving have? Some kind of crazy contract.
They can't even go for him, I think, in free agency. I don't think
they have to make that trade in the offseason.
They have to make a trade, Irving for Davis?
No, they have to. So they can. I think they're allowed to make the trade for Anthony Davis, but it has to be in the offseason. They can't make a trade deadline deal for him.
Or they can't sign him in free agency. They have to make a trade.
Well, I think they could probably sign him in free agency, but that'll be not this year. It'll be the year after. He has an option after next year.
Oh. I thought really?
Option after 2020.
Huh. So he can either decline it and he's a free agent, or he can sign it, which I think that's pretty much for every player.
Yeah, for the most part.
And he's going to decline because he wants a massive deal, right? I mean, it's hard. I can see him going to the East.
To be honest, if Boston was able to trade for him, I think they would. They have the most pieces, and we could argue say, well, the Lakers do. No.
And they don't have a star.
If we're
big
talking
man.
Valuable,
yeah.
I'd say the Boston Celtics. They have Tatum. They have Jaylen Brown. They have Terry Rozier has been great for them, but I don't know if he's a. You even have Gordon Hayward. You can move.
and they don't have a star center.
Al Horford's okay, but he's not.
And Baines, I mean, really,
the New Zealand product or from Australian or whatever.
Yeah, but a little surprised that he came out just so bluntly. But he's just fed up with New Orleans.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get traded by the All-Star break, by the trade deadline.
Why not?
Because the New Orleans Pelicans are in the driving seat.
There's no way.
They're in the driving seat. They have him for next year anyway. So they're like, well, if we don't get the package we want, we're not just going to ship him out right now.
He's going to decline the option and be a free agent.
No, next year. After next season, he has that option.
Oh, after next season.
So he signed through this year and next year.
You're going to get more value for him this year?
Agreed, but if they don't get the product they want, then why would you even bother?
Because
you hear about the ways that teams can trade for Anthony Davis, but are those teams willing to make those moves?
Because the Pelicans are in a tough situation, like the Nylander options, right? It all depends but I think that if the package is right, or even a bit under, even a bit lower value, you do it. This team locker room is going to be in shambles because you have a guy who doesn't want to be there, and you have players that were just going to be there because of Anthony Davis, right? So, I mean, I think you trade him and you're going to get the most value for him, because with any team, you're going to still have him for another year, like you said. I thought he was a free agent coming up. But yeah, I think the Pelicans got to get something, and they are going to get a boatload for him.
They will get something for him, but it would not surprise me. They wait till the offseason and trade him to Boston. It would not surprise me.
Even the Lakers, I mean, Boston has better young players.
Right, but are the Lakers willing to move these young guys? Are they willing to move Alonzo Ball? Are they willing to trade a Kyle Kuzma?
Well, I think Kuzma is the one guy, but Lonzo, like you said, has been struggling. Ingram's been suffering.
You have to trade a guy like Kuzma to get an Anthony Davis.
And are these guys even going to be staying with New Orleans?
Well, you run into that problem. So that's where New Orleans is in a really tough situation, but they are also in the driving seat because they have him for next year as well.
They do, but they're not making the playoffs this year.
They're not in a rush. Why are they in a rush to make a trade before the trade deadline? There's no rush for this.
No, but for a team that wants to go for it this year, they will pay the sun and the moon for this guy.
Then they'll accept it.
Yeah.
But if they don't get that type of trade, I don't think they make that move. So it would not surprise me if by deadline he's still a New Orleans Pelican. It would not surprise me.
Do you really want to go into the offseason with the guy who's disgruntled and everyone is too?
It wouldn't surprise me if you try and trade him at the draft. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, the draft, yes, but you're talking about having him for next year. I don't think
I don't think he'll get past the offseason. I don't think starting the 1920 season, I don't think you'll see Davis as a Pelican. If you do, I'd be shocked. But I don't think he'll be traded by the deadline. I think it's going to be an off-season or draft night move. And I don't think it'll be a draft night. I think it'll be an off-season move.
For the draft? Like sometime after the NBA Finals, and then, see, usually big trades don't happen at the draft.
They don't even happen at the trade deadline. You don't see a guy like Anthony Davis.
Because most of these guys just go to free agency. Like, will you ever see a Steph Curry trade? Would you ever see a LeBron James trade?
We can get into the whole Klay Thompson deal if he's going to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors or not. We can get into that at any point.
Well, yeah, not so much this podcast. But, yeah, I mean, I think the Pelicans got to unload. But like you said, if the package is right, do it now. But if not, wait till the offseason. But do not have him in a Pelicans jersey next year.
Agreed. I can agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah. So
do you want to look around the league?
Well, we kind of did. If you want, we can go to the Jays a little bit. Or do you want to
talk about Luka Doncic?
We did last year.
I know.
Last podcast.
Then in the Raptor game, we actually got a chance to see him, and he had a second career triple-double.
He's great
against the Raptors.
He's great. Well, what can I say? He's going to win Rookie of the Year. All-Star snub. Actually, I do want to talk about the All-Star game, the starting lineup.
Yeah, and I got to find this.
Well, off the top of your head, for the East, it's Irving,
Giannis,
Kemba Walker, Leonard, and
Joel
Embiid. And
I love that. I love that Kemba's there. I mean, that guy is well deserved.
Yeah,
he has been the driving force of that New Orleans Hornets. We've been saying a lot of New Orleans Pelican stuff tonight. The Charlotte Hornets for quite some time. He has been the guy that has driven that team all the time. The guy's averaging 24 points a game.
I thought it was better than that.
I think it was. See, look at the last 3, 4. Okay. Wow, quite a few games. He's dropped off a little bit, but he's still an unbelievable player. Yeah. He always has been. And how old is he? He's not that old. He's only 28.
He's the driving force for that team. And other than him, maybe Batum.
That's even doing that. I haven't heard anything about him. Not even close. He's really dropped off.
So not like he was on Portland.
Miles Bridges has been fantastic for them, though. I know points per game wise not great, but I like what I've seen from Miles Bridges. Plus, he's a Michigan product, Michigan State.
Michigan State,
and he's 12th overall, so you can't really go off of that. I think it was well deserved. All the starters. Joel Embiid obviously is the main key.
Now, question for you: do you think the starting lineup for the Warriors could beat the Eastern All Stars?
No, I don't believe so.
It's close though.
It's a great team over there.
Boogie, Draymond, I guess Clay,
Steph, and Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. But you throw Giannis, who is an MVP candidate, Kawhi Leonard, MVP candidate.
So that's actually I favorited this. I want to just really because this is an interesting topic. I mean, it shows how much of a joke the NBA is, but let's just go to it anyways. Okay, where is it? Okay, there we go. So, Kyrie Irving versus Steph Curry. Well, I think we can all agree. Actually, I don't know.
I mean, if we're like in certain aspects.
Okay, so those two equal out each other.
I think if you look at Kyrie Irving, like Steph Curry's the better 3-point shot, but
Kyrie Irving has better handles, and he can. So those two even each other out. Klay Thompson versus Kemba Walker. Klay Thompson is the better player.
Is he? Is he really?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Better 3-point shooter, but is he a better player?
I believe so. Kemba Walker, I mean, he's only good because he's the only good guy really on
Kawhi and Kevin Durant. Okay.
Durant. So do you agree with that?
In aspects, yes.
Okay, so there you go. Giannis versus Draymond Green, obviously Giannis.
And then Embiid and Boogie, I personally think Embiid is the better player. I do.
Yeah, I do too. So
it's actually a lot closer than I thought.
I know.
I mean, my goodness.
I know. So but that just shows that it's a
ridiculous piece of garbage.
Yeah. So
they've won 11 straight, by the way. The Golden State Warriors have. How's Boogie even been doing over there? I'm assuming he's doing just fine. Where is he here? There he is.
Hey, Jesus.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic. He's shooting over 50% from 3. Oh God.
Yeah. So
way to go, NBA. Way to let this happen.
Let's move on to the Jays, and I mean, of course, any podcast offseason Jays podcast. I said podcast twice, but whatever. There's not going to be a lot of news. There's some notable, maybe minor free agent signings.
Yeah. Well, the Jays signed Freddie Galvis to a 1-year deal. I mean, again, he's probably going to be he's probably just going to be a depth guy, and nothing really crazy in that sense. But actually, something we touched on the last podcast, and I didn't get a chance to actually find out the list, was the top 100 prospects, and the Jays have 5 of them in the top 100. Obviously, number 1 is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Bo Bichette is number 11. Danny Jansen is 65. Nate Pearson, who I think is going to skyrocket through that list. He was the first-round pick 2 years ago. He got hit with a line drive last year.
He's the one with glasses, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know if he is or not. But anyways, he can throw 100. He's big. He's a strong right-handed pitcher, and I think he's going to skyrocket through the system this year. So, yeah, it says 76, but I think it'll go up this year. And Eric Perdino, 17-year-old, he's a great-looking prospect. He did great with Bluefield last year. I think he's going to go up through the prospect system really quickly. He's number 98 on the list.
Okay.
So, the Jays have 5 names in that list.
In the top 100. Which, top 100, I mean, that's apparent because we've been terrible the last 3 years. Well, 2 years. But this is a transition year, like we've been saying.
Yep.
And you could see some of these guys move, be on the bigs. But I think the only guy, like you said, is a pretty much ace for the Blue Jays would be Vladdy. And yeah, I mean, it's
last thing we want to talk about is Marco Estrada signs a 1-year deal
with Oakland,
with the Oakland Athletics, and we really got to look back at Marco Estrada and what he did for this team coming over.
I think
he got traded to Toronto from Milwaukee as a reliever, as a long man in the bullpen. Didn't really look to be so much. I don't know what he was, but he came over as like a 4 ERA, and nothing was really special when it comes to Marco. You didn't really expect anything out of him. Yeah. Then injuries happened, and then he got into the rotation, and then things started to click for Marco Estrada. And then he started to become really, really dominant. That changeup was working nicely, and he had a ridiculously good end to the 2015 season. Yeah. You go into the playoffs, you go down 0-2 to the Texas Rangers. You're in Texas. I mean, this is you lose one game, you're done, and you're already down 0-2. You lost both at home. You're going to Texas for Game 3, and he basically shuts them down. Texas.
He was our ace
in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, he was so good. And then he came back in game, what was it, 3 of the Kansas City Royals series. You lost the first 2 games of that series. You needed a win. He goes out there, throws you a gem. I mean, he was incredible, Marco Estrada was. And then you go to the next game, the next season in 2016 against the Rangers. You were up 0-2 going to Texas. Or is it 0-2 coming home? Anyways, one of the two. And he goes out there in game 1 of the Texas Rangers series in Texas and shuts them out.
Yeah.
Watching him perform in the playoffs was magical.
Older guy, obviously. He's 35 now.
He's something like that. He's old. Again, that whole core was very old.
I'm surprised he didn't retire with I mean...
Yeah, he still feels like he's got some juice
left.
But
does he? I don't think so.
His back problems were a big issue.
Yeah.
But
one of the better pitchers in Blue Jays, well, I shouldn't say history, but in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? It's sad to see him with Oakland. He's still going to be in the AL, which, I mean, I would like to see him in the NL, but I don't think he's going to make a huge impact with the A's.
No, it's 1 year. Again, it's going to be nothing really for Marco Estrada, but you know what? He was a beloved Blue Jay.
And spring training isn't... Sorry, do you want to...
He flirted with a few no-hitters in his Blue Jays tenure.
Yeah.
But it was a great time for Marco, but you know what? It's a transition time for the Blue Jays.
And 1 month or 2 months? 1 month away until spring training?
It's
February, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When does the first game for the Jays start? It is the 23rd, and that is
less than a month.
30th.
Less than a month.
24 days away, Jays fans, until flipping spring training
so we can
begins.
Actually talk about something. Mind you, it is spring training, like preseason.
Now, something that we want to discuss is that obviously we know the Jays are looking towards the whole young core. And we already heard that Blue Jays invite Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and Kevin Biggio to spring training. Now, obviously, Vladdy Jr., we all knew that was going to happen. Bo Bichette, they were last year as well. But bringing in Kevin Biggio, another piece to that future.
Which it's spring training, nice so you kind of expect that because...
There's all kinds of question marks going into this year. And that's why it's going to be so fun. That's why whenever we talk about the Jays, you always say that it might be difficult to watch, But it's going to be fun.
More fun because we're going to be seeing guys we haven't seen ever in the bigs, right? Like especially Vladdy. And he's going to be like Ronald Acuna Jr. on the Braves.
Because we can sit here and we can be like, okay, well, what's Vladdy Jr. going to be? Well, we hear about what he's going to be, but we want to see it. Will Bo Bichette make the team? Will Biggio be an MLB player? Will Julian Merriweather, the guy that the Jays got for
all
Josh
these
Donaldson.
Question marks.
And it's so exciting because spring training is coming up soon and you want to see some guys impress. And who knows, if Julian Merriweather puts a great performance together, he might beat out one of the guys and be in the rotation this year.
He's the guy we got for Josh Donaldson.
He's coming off of Tommy John. I don't know if he...
So how is he going to perform after Tommy John?
Well, you run into that issue, right? But I don't know. I think that... he's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun come spring training. First game is on Saturday, February 23rd at 1 o'clock against the Detroit Tigers at Dunedin Stadium in Dunedin, Florida.
That's our AAA? Or
no, that's the A affiliate.
A.
Oh, the Miami Marlins have a new... Ew, what's going on there?
Actually, I kind of like that, to be honest with you.
It's kind of nice.
I like that a lot, actually.
Nice,
the new Miami Marlins logo. It's better than that orange garbage.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just the spring training thing.
No.
That's actually kind of nice. I like that.
Well, you were gonna.
I was gonna bash it, but then I got into it.
I like it,
and I kind of like that. I like the black with the red and the blue. I like that.
And like with the orange accents.
Yeah, I like that.
So, if there's anything around the league, we still know the two big fish still haven't signed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just not even talk about it because nothing else has happened. We've just been hearing, this team's been talking to us.
Or no, a mystery too. Golden State Warriors signed Manny Machado to be on the bench.
Yep.
I mean, just for support. Just for support.
Why not? Just to come off the bench, why not?
I mean, maybe make a couple threes. If Manny Machado suits up in a Golden State Warriors uniform.
This is why the MLB is so flawed. You look, we're less than a month away from spring training, and those two big fish don't even know where they're playing.
Well, they know, but they just haven't.
They don't.
They haven't a
contract
but they have an idea, but they just don't want to. They want to see if any other team's going to outbid the team that they're probably going to sign.
All right, let me reword that. They have not been signed to a contract by a team yet, and we're less than a month away.
Well, no shit, but I know what you mean. I think that it's gonna be. I mean, I can't see them maybe before spring training. Do you think
they better?
Yeah, I don't know.
If not, that's ridiculous.
It doesn't really affect the Jays. I mean, if it's in our division,
I prefer everyone. I prefer Machado and Harper to go to the National League and stay well away from the Yankees and Red Sox. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna stay in the American League East. I don't think The Yankees are going to get Machado. I don't think Bryce Harper's even sniffed around the American League at all. Actually, do you want to talk about Bell Let's Talk as a thing first?
Let's shout it out. Guys, if you don't know, which I don't know how you don't know, tweet the hashtag hashtag BellLetsTalk. Every retweet gets 5 cents towards mental health.
Isn't it like as well?
I don't think it's a like. I think it's a retweet. Okay. Goes towards mental health issues. So you don't... What's funny about mental health? If you see a guy on a street that looks pretty normal, well-dressed guy with a good job, maybe he has mental health issues that you don't know. Yeah. You can look at anyone, and it's a mental problem, right? So tweet it out, guys. Retweet it. James, you tweeted it. I tweeted it. Yep. And it's one day, I think, out of the year.
I think so. I think it's just this one, January 30th.
I think last year they raised over... Geez, I don't even want to say the number because it's probably completely off, but probably about $1 million or so.
Wouldn't even surprise me if it's more than that. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Honestly, I mean, it's
a great cause though.
It's a great cause, but I'm going through issues with my Bell phone plan, so I mean, it's kind of me.
It's all right, it's okay. Maybe it'll help you out.
Maybe Rogers, let's talk. Let's go. No, I'm joking, but guys, really tweet that out, and you don't know who has it, and who knows. Your loved one, your friends could have mental health issues, and it's something that needs to be talked about more, especially with sports players. I know a lot of hockey players have that due to concussions, probably basketball players too, football players, who knows, but it's definitely a good cause. How much money did they raise last year?
I'm trying to find this.
So I said $1 million.
Yeah, you said $1 million, and the total amount raised was $867 million. $867,449,649.
It's almost $1 billion.
It's incredible. $9 million in community fund grants, 534 community fund grants, $3.5 million in grants for kids and youth. It's incredible. $1.6 million in grants for military family. It's awesome. It is awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we can surpass that this year.
And you're already at 5 retweets and a couple likes.
Something like that, right? Isn't it? For
I'm at a few too.
5 retweets and 4 likes. There we go. Good stuff.
Yeah. So just shout that out. Now to the podcast.
To the questions here, guys. We have just Kamal. Sorry, buddy. Best AD deal Raptors could offer to New Orleans. I think it has to start with Siakam. You got to add OG into the mix. You got to throw your 2021 first round pick, 2020 first.
Both picks.
You might have to fire in both picks. And JV and DeLon Wright, or you might have to. Because
I don't think we even have the assets for a trade.
I think you do. I think a guy like Pascal Siakam is raising a lot of eyebrows right now, and I think he's a big piece.
So Siakam, Lowry or no?
OG.
Oh, sorry, OG. Okay, so Siakam, OG, JV, DeLon Wright, and 2 first.
Maybe 1 first, but I mean, you might have to give up 2. It's a ridiculous amount.
So now we're trading picks in the 2023 draft.
Okay, that's crazy. And the fact that he's pretty much guaranteed that whatever team he goes to, he's not going to re-sign there.
Other than the Lakers.
You really want to risk that type of future, like trading DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl for Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard. That's rough because it was DeMar DeRozan for Toronto fans and all that.
But this,
and then you Raptors, in my eyes, the Raptors have a good chance of re-signing Kawhi Leonard. But this doesn't sound like he is even sniffing around at any team. Is like, I'm not staying here.
Other than the Lakers.
And if you're going to give up that much.
For a guy, yeah, that's definitely
crazy.
Risky.
I don't know. Unless you can guarantee him re-signing, but even that's a lot.
I wouldn't do it.
Chatterbox reviews, is Siakam going to be an MVP type of player in the future? Are Leafs done making moves after Jake Muzzin?
MVP, no, but...
All-Star? Would not surprise me.
All-Star, yes.
He might even be a reserve this year.
I could see him topping out around 23, 24 points a game. Kind of like DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, All-Star, not MVP. And do you think the Leafs are done making moves after Muzzin?
About that?
No, we don't. We don't think. Another depth defenseman and a fourth-line winger or center. Yeah. Veteran guy.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't hurt. I mean, getting Tyler Ennis back from injury would kind of fill that hole a little bit. Roderick, how do you think the Leafs will start off the second half of the year? I'm hoping is their legs are going and they build off of that 6-3 win against Washington.
But you saw with the Pittsburgh game, they were still in All-Star game mode.
You saw with Winnipeg. They lost 3-1 to Philly, and then you play the next night in Boston and you win in a shootout.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we struggle against Detroit and then we come back to play Pittsburgh on the Saturday and we win that. Slow to the start, but this Leafs team, we know what we can do. And I think with the addition of Jake Muzzin, I think it'll take some time for him to get used to the team.
So how do you think they'll start? I think they might be a little slow out of the gate, but hey, you never know, honestly. We expected the Raptors to be slow with Kawhi Leonard.
Is that it for the questions?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. So thank you guys for listening to episode 5, season 2 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast. We will be back next week, probably on the Thursday.
Probably same time, Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, I will talk about it. Perfect. Well, we actually have a decent schedule now. Not like doing it like
just hope to God
Saturday night, romantic night on the Teal Sports Talk podcast with your boys.
Get a little sip of wine up in there, get some romantic music going.
Exactly.
The rose petals.
The rose petals. the rose petals. But, so yeah, we will be back. And
I will talk to you guys later. Well, actually, not tonight. It's been really weird not uploading any videos for like the past few days. Thank God the Leafs traded for Jake Muzzin. But nothing tonight, people. Tomorrow, the Raptors take on the Milwaukee Bucks at Scotiabank Arena. They've had some time off, so we looked for them to come out flying against the Bucks at home tomorrow night. I think it's a 7:30 tip-off at Scotiabank Arena, and as for the Leafs, like Evan and I talked about, they take on the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena on Friday night as they look to start off their informal second half of the season, post All-Star break if you want to call it, and they look to start that on the right note. So it's been a weird time off, but podcast is here. Leafs and Raptors are just about back, and heck, the Jays are almost here for God's sakes. I will talk to you guys then, and Evan and I will talk to you guys either Wednesday or Thursday next week. I'll keep you guys posted in the videos. We really appreciate your guys' support every single week, and Evan and I will talk to you guys then.
Peace.